Hello and welcome to the Thread to MEND podcast. My name is Taylor, coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is the knitting podcast, spinning podcast, and a podcast of other fiber-related crafts. I have only a few things to show you today. They are works in progress and a planned project, and I have one semi-completed project. I'll just get right into that to explain what I mean. I mentioned in my previous episode about my intention of preparing more fiber, and I have on my shelf here, is that gonna fall? All right, a full basket of fiber I've combed out to prepare for spinning. This is fiber that I naturally dyed with, I believe, black walnut husks. This is the lighter of the two batches I've made this summer, late summer. And this took me maybe like 3 podcast viewing episodes to do, so 2 to 3 hours. My hands were a bit tired by the end of that, and I was ready to quit. So this is kind of exciting. I'm guessing this might be something just below 100 grams of fiber to spin into a skein. I hope to include this skein of fiber in my hand spun from a fleece sweater, colorwork sweater, and a fingering weight. Just trying to get this back on my shelf. Okay. The other projects I'm working on are, well, I'm almost finished with my first of 2 gloves. This is from the Big Book of Knitted Mittens, I think, or something of that effect. It's the nightly owl or night owl pattern. My gauge is really tight because I did not have fun, and I have quite irregularity at the top decreases. It's wonky, I'm not thrilled, and I didn't know what color to do the Kitchener in, so I chose the dark. But it looks a bit funny. The thumb I've not yet finished, and so far I've made a mistake there with the patterning. I forgot to, I don't know, I guess I switched what rows I was on. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't have a lifeline in at the where I removed the afterthought string, so next time I knit gloves, I'm definitely going to use a safety line where I pick up my stitches, so that if I decide I need to rip back and start over from the beginning, I can do that. But I'm gonna be glad when these are finished because, like I said, I did not enjoy the last inch or so of decreases. It was just challenging. I switched from my 9-inch circulars to DPNs. I don't typically knit on DPNs. I don't enjoy knitting on DPNs. I'm just a magic loop and a circular 9-inch circular girl. So these will be nice to have on the coldest days when I have to go outside to walk the dog. On those bitter cold days, the dog doesn't even want to be outside anyway. She just would rather run outside into the yard and do her business and come back in. A lot of our, well, across the street from us, there's a big salt box that the city provides salt for the neighbors to salt the sidewalks. So I don't have any control about what kind of pet-friendly salt could be used on sidewalks near and around our home. I can't, anyway, the dog's feet just can't handle it. And I'm thinking about getting booties for her and her walks, but I hear that dogs don't like those. So if you have a dog that wears booties and it works for you, let me know if that is a reality, because I'm not sure how to solve that problem. I don't know if I even need to, because it's kind of already mid-January, and we're doing fine, but I digress. I have almost 1 of 2 mittens made. I'm going to cast that on soon. I feel like the decreases and the DPNs turned me off from this project intensely, and it might be a week before I finish this and cast on the next one. So just taking a little bit of a break from that project. I do plan to cast on with this yarn my first ever cable knit project. I'm knitting a cable hat. I will add the pattern name here and a link to it in the description box. I think it was a free Ravelry download, and I'm excited to try that out. And it was this project that inspired me to pick up my only acquisition I have to show you, and that is a new set of Knitter's Pride short tips. I have the regular length tips. I don't know if they're called Dreams or something else, but they're the wooden Knitter's Pride needles. Should be, are you okay? What are you doing? Come here. And the reason I felt like I wanted these for that project is that I have a hard time knitting small circumference projects with my longer tip needles, because I feel like it forces me to knit at an odd angle that I'm not typically knitting with, in order to get the stitches spread out across them. So I'm really happy that I was able to pick these up, and I found them at a good price online. And that is my first planned knitting project. My second planned knitting project is to recreate a sweater. Melissa from Knitting the Stash is starting up a knit along where you can write in your thoughts on how to recreate a sweater, and I had every intention of doing that before she mentioned it, and now I feel like I can, because I hope to reach out for some help. Now this is going to be a little, really what I want is a dolman sleeve sweater. So it's possible that I might do more research on Ravelry and find a pattern that I understand and I'll work from. But regardless, I plan to use my 2-ply fingering weight yarn that I bought at Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival from the O-Wool stand, I guess you'd say. The O-Wool corner of the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool universe. Now this sweater here, it's wrinkled because I just pulled it out of a pile of sweaters, but it's a 100% cashmere sweater, that I inherited from my grandmother. I love it. It's probably from like the 80s, but it's beautiful, and it's just starting to get a little wear and tear on it. I mended a small break in the seam here, which is hardly noticeable, but in the back there's a little bit of holes here, so I don't know, I just would really like to have another dolman sleeve to throw in rotation. What I like most about them is that they're really airy. I tend to sweat a little bit. I wear like natural deodorant, and either it's like caked on or I'm sweating and gross. I like that the dolman sleeve gives you space between your physical sweaty skin and the fiber. It's airy and light and warm. And this sweater in particular, of course it's machine knit and it's fabric sewn together, and then I'm sure that it's maybe the pieces are machine knit to size, I don't know. But the sweater knit is across. So the front and back pieces, the knitting isn't up and down like we typically do, top down or bottom up. It's the knitting is across, which I don't plan to replicate because I don't know. Maybe that would be easier. Maybe it would be easier to knit a really odd shape piece of fabric. This is something I have to think more about, but this is my intention, is to make a dolman sleeve sweater, one similar in size and shape to this. So I'm glad that I have one. Sorry, I keep doing that. I'm glad that I have one that I can kind of measure out and find out, what measurements do I want, and I have the yarn already too, so I can work with that gauge, whatever gauge I get, and remake a dolman sleeve sweater. So if you've made a dolman sleeve sweater, if there's a pattern on Ravelry that you've already found that you really like, please share that below. I would love your input here. I've mentioned in a previous episode that I have plans to sew 2 metamorphic dresses. I've never sewn dresses before. I kind of went double down on that fabric purchase, but that's going to happen soon, maybe this weekend. And yeah, I haven't spun a lot. I have a small spinning project I will show you when it's finished. And I think that is everything. This is probably going to be a really short episode, but I've already recorded this episode earlier at a terrible angle. I don't have a setup yet with my camera that is friendly towards me, but it does help me practice and kind of get all my thoughts out and do a little verbal diarrhea before I'm in front of the camera. Oh, girl. Can you see her? I hope so. She's so funny. I feel like I'm leaving you so soon. Oh, what I did want to mention is that I do have intentions of recording a few other videos here on my YouTube channel that are not of the podcast setup or structure. And I want to show and share with you all some of the ways that I do things, like my methods and I guess reasoning behind my methods or my opinions of like how I like to do things in terms of fiber preparation, how I set up my combs, spinning, how I sit at my wheel or whatever. In case those are useful to you, if you're new to spinning, I'd like to show you at some point my Knitting Notions organization and how I do things, my spaces and stuff like that. So check out those when they're up. Let me know what you think of them. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. It really is something I look forward to every week, sitting down to record and upload to kind of interact with all of you. I feel like I just love this community that so many of you have already started to build, and now I can hopefully be a part of. So thank you. If you record podcasts, thank you for sharing your perspectives and your projects and the things that you do. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Chibi says bye. Before we go, I'd like to announce the winner of the fiber giveaway from 2 weeks ago, and that is Stephanie over at the Knitting and Spinning podcast, Crafty Garden Sews. You can find her on YouTube and Instagram under that handle. And Stephanie, I hope you enjoyed this fiber. I'm going to contact you for your mailing address and get that out to you as soon as I can. I hope you all have a great day, and thanks for participating in that giveaway. Take care. Bye-bye.